Mimi was a kid when she did this. She's appalled, and having said that, she's not trying to excuse it in any way. And what she lost was her dream. Like many athletes, she had worked most of her young adult life for this shot at going to a great school and being on their team. That was taken away from her in what can only be described as a rush to judgment.
Earlier this week, we brought you the story of Mimi Groves, a white high school student in Virginia who lost her college acceptance and a spot on its Division I cheerleading team after one of her classmates shared a years-old video of Groves using a racial slur as a high school freshman. My next guest says it's not about social justice, but tearing people down in order to feel morally superior. It's sick. Joining me now is the author of that piece, Eddie Scarry, Washington Examiner commentary writer and the author of the book Privileged Victims: How America's Culture Fascist Hijacked the Country and Elevated Its Worst People. I think we're talking about some of its worst people here. Eddie, good evening to you. I think what's important here about your piece, your editorial today, and our response to this story is what's going on in the motivations behind people tearing each other down. Why is this happening?
Well, just one slight correction. It is about tearing people down, but that is what social justice is. I think people aren't fully aware of this when they hear social justice. It kind of sounds like a nice term, but no, that's what it does. It basically, it's an ideology, it's a worldview that says, based on my gender, race, my sexual identity, I've been oppressed, I've been aggrieved, I've been victimized, and therefore someone's going to have to pay for that. That's exactly what the one student, the black student, biracial, I guess you would say, because he's about as black as me. The biracial student said, I came across this video where she said the N-word. She's going to have to pay for that. He's even quoted saying at the end of the article, he says that I taught her a lesson. And this person, this young girl who was completely innocent, and this is what social justice does, is tears down innocent people, was completely innocent. What did she do? She said something she shouldn't have said as a child, as if no one's ever done that before, and he made her pay for it. Even though it had nothing to do with him, this was not directed at him. The New York Times piece frames this as though it even uses the word holding people accountable. What are you holding her accountable when the person who leaked this video, who put it online, he was not the target of the video. She was not saying the word about him. But again, this is what social justice does. It seeks to tear people down, tear them apart, and ruin innocent people's lives, even if they're children.
Yeah, the other student involved in this is biracial, to your point. I think you're right in that this is largely about power. What it is about tearing other people down. It's central to the ideology. It's also about unearned virtue. It's a way to make yourself somehow virtuous without ever having to earn it, by only pointing to other people without ever looking internally. But there's something else at play here as well, Eddie, and that's the response of the adults. That is the New York Times, as you pointed out. It is the University of Tennessee. It is corporations that respond to this attempt at destruction. What's going on there? Because it appears there we're dealing with simple fear.
Well, there's an excellent book you mentioned at the top of this segment called Privileged Victims, where I go into all of that. That's why the subtitle is Culture Fascists. Who are the culture fascists? It's academia. It is the news media, in this case, the New York Times. It's the Democratic Party in big ways. And they claim victim after victim after victim. That's the culture that they're trying to enforce on everybody. Nicholas Sandmann, excellent example. The McCloskeys, excellent example. People who did nothing wrong with in their actions, and yet the news media, or whether it be the news media, the Democratic Party, academia, in the case of this this young woman at this high school, they say this is the villain. This is who we have to take down because someone has claimed to have been oppressed. Someone claims to have been aggrieved based on, again, on it's always race, gender, or sexual identity. So we got to take them down a notch. Someone has to pay for this. It's a sick ideology, and I really want people to understand that this is not just a one-off. This is not a bizarre thing. We can mock it all we want, but it's very, very scary. It's out of control. And it's dangerous.
But again, there are adults on the other side of this equation. There are institutions who are bending to these types of demands, this destruction.
They're part of it.
Yeah. Well, and at the very least, they're exhibiting a complete lack of backbone. They're bending to the fear of a loud minority of people. All right, Eddie, thanks so much for being with us tonight.